Welcome back everyone to MOTOBLADE. Today I am finally doing my full in-depth review of the 2018 Indian Chieftain Dark Horse, my brand new bike. So let's start off with some of the main components of the bike and then we'll get into the awesome features. Starting off with our power plant, the Thunderstroke 111 engine. The engine is amazing in this thing. As you guys can hear, it sounds great, it feels great. 111 cubic inches, that translates to I think 1,811 cc's. The exhaust coming off of that is what Indian calls acoustically tuned for a superior exhaust note, and it really does sound awesome. It is a split exhaust. That engine produces 119 foot-pounds of torque, so you can feel the power with every rip of the throttle. After that amazing engine, we have the suspension on the bike. 46mm tubes up front, and the rear shock is a Fox Racing Shock air suspension, fully adjustable. I have an air pump, very easy to do, and so I can adjust that to my comfort level for cruising depending on how much weight I have on the bike, including myself. So that is an awesome suspension. I really do notice the difference, and it's very comfortable. I can change it out for me just riding by myself, or me plus gear, or me plus wife plus gear. So lots of good options there, and it makes the cruising a whole lot more enjoyable when I can adjust that rear suspension. Along with suspension, we'll talk about the handling. I've got a 25-degree rake on this baby and a 65-inch wheelbase, which is all just a bit steeper and a bit shorter than my Chief Dark Horse was, and that lends itself to superior handling. Whereas on my Chief Dark Horse, I felt I had to push it into the corners. The Chieftain just falls into the corner, and when you're ready to straighten up, it just pops right back up like nothing. I do not remember off the top of my head what the lean angle is on this thing, but as you guys can see, it's pretty darn good. It's pretty steep, and I will throw those numbers up on the screen for you guys. We have anti-lock brakes all the way around. Up front, we have dual 300mm floating rotors with 4 piston calipers. In the rear, we have a single 300mm floating rotor with a 2 piston caliper. To go along with that rear brake, we've got a 16-inch rear wheel, and up front a 19-inch. Let's talk about comfort. The seat is ridiculously comfortable. I am comfy on this thing all day long. Did a 5.5-hour ride the other day. That was a 8-hour day and 5.5 hours of actual riding time, and comfy the whole way. Butt did not get sore. It was just nice. To go along with our comfy seat, we have floorboards and highway bars, so I can stretch my legs out, put my feet up there if I want to. I could get a set of highway pegs, but honestly, the highway bars are in a very comfy position for my feet, and so I can throw my feet up there when I need to stretch out on longer trips. And the floorboards provide that extra comfort for moving my feet around to different angles and positions. And the last piece that we're going to talk about as far as comfort is concerned is this windshield right in front of us, which you guys can see is very dirty because I just finished riding the Tail of the Dragon and the Cherahalla, and there were a lot of bugs. But this windshield, super comfy, throws all the wind over my head. But if I want to ride like I'm riding a naked bike or like I'm riding my Chief, I just put the windshield down, and there it goes. And it doesn't seem like it moves that far, and it wouldn't make that much difference, but it does. In this position, I get full air, and it's like riding a fairingless bike because it's all very smooth air coming up over the front, and it's awesome. And then when I want to be like a touring bike or for longer trips or on the highway, I just put it up, and there you go. All the air goes straight up over my helmet, no buffeting. It's awesome. With 2 clicks on my windshield button, I can put it all the way up or all the way down, or I can just hold it and put it anywhere I want in between. And it is an awesome feature of the Indian. It is so cool. I guess one other little feature as far as creature comforts are concerned is this little cubby up here. I've got my phone in there. It holds pound, I think is what it says, of cargo, so it's basically just made for your phone. But it's got a USB charger in there, so I can charge my phone while I'm riding. And that USB hookup also lets me update Ride Command and the map software. And I can even plug an iPod or a USB with songs into it and play my music off of that. So we've talked about the engine, we've talked about handling, we've talked about comfort. The last thing I'll talk about before we really get into some of the awesome features of this bike, and I'm sure you guys want to know all about Ride Command here, we're going to talk about styling real quick. This is the Dark Horse version of the Chieftain. I love it. It's all blacked out. It has a few chrome accents, but it's not overdone. I am not a fan of chrome at all. Can't stand it. But they did it very nicely on this bike. That being said, I may still swap it out for a pair of blacked out pipes in the future, but the chrome accents, I think, kind of offset the darkness of the bike really well, and it looks very sexy. And I'm going to give you guys an overview of just how awesome this bike looks right now. So now let's get on to some of the awesome features that just set this bike apart from all the other bikes. We have hard locking saddlebags. That's not the most special thing in the world. I mean, almost every bagger bike in the world has lockable hard saddlebags. What makes Indians special? The fact that they aren't square, first of all, and they match the rear end. They're nice and curved. More importantly, what sets them apart is their automatic locking. So they lock electronically. On my fob, I have a lock and unlock button for my saddlebags and for arming and disarming the security system on the bike. I can also lock and unlock them from here as long as my security fob is within range. So I can automatically lock my saddlebags, no longer have to fumble with a key to open them or lock them, and that means keeping the keys away from my saddlebags so I don't scratch the paint. It was well thought out and a great feature addition by Indian. Now let's talk about everything that's right here in front of me. First of all, let's go over some basic things. Lights up front. I have riding lights that I can turn off and on here. I have cruise control on my right handlebar control panel. That will work in 4th gear and above. Of course, I've got high beam, low beam, horn. Horn isn't terribly loud, but it's better than a scooter. Passing light. I can just press and hold if I'm going to pass or whatever. And then of course I've got left and right turn signal on the left hand side. Press and hold and I get my flashers, my hazards. And then all the other controls down here are related to what's in front of me, Ride Command. As you guys can see, Ride Command is front and center on this bike. Before I go any further, I'm going to let you guys know that I'm going to do a whole series just on Ride Command. In depth, how to use it to its maximum potential, and answer any questions you guys might have as far as how to upload your own custom routes to Ride Command and how to do all that. So those videos are forthcoming, so I'm not going to go really far in depth with Ride Command, but I'm going to give you guys a pretty good overview of it today. So right now you have GPS on the display. On my right and left handlebar controls, I have buttons back behind here where my index fingers can move the screen from panel to panel. And so if I click here, we're going to cycle through to vehicle info. And you can see I have split screen. I've got vehicle info on the left, trip 1 on the right, and then I can go to my next one and I have more trip data, a compass, altimeter, altitude change, moving time, stop time, and I can have a mini GPS display as well. And then my third one, I have trip 2 and then a vehicle status where I have my tire pressures front and rear because I have electronic tire pressure monitoring, and I have average miles per gallon and then instant miles per gallon reflecting my current riding status. Now, all of those screens can be customized. I can change that split screen setup to be whatever I want. And there are all kinds of different options available. Those are just the ones that I prefer to have set up. It's customized for me. At the top of the screen, you guys can see I have the time on the upper right-hand corner, the current direction I'm heading there, southwest at the moment, 86 degrees, that's the ambient air temperature here. And then on the upper left, I have a little phone icon with all the bars showing me what my level of cell service is for my phone at the moment. Now, like I said, my phone is up in here above the ride command unit, and it's plugged in and charging, but I'm connected via Bluetooth for everything. So I'm going to cycle to the next screen, and you guys see I have audio playing. I have it turned down right now, but I'm playing music with Bluetooth from a Spotify playlist, and I have different options for audio. If I tap on that icon, I can change it to FM band, AM band, NOAA weather radio with 6 different weather bands to choose from for my region, and then USB or iPod. Now let's crank this baby up. This is a 100-watt audio sound system, and I've customized the equalizer for bass because I like a little more bass in my music. I don't know how well that will come through on the camera audio with my new microphone, but it sounds amazing in person, let me assure you. But I'm going to turn it up, and hopefully you guys can hear some good music here. Now I have my microphone in my helmet right up next to my cheek, and so that should be pretty representative of what you guys would hear for audio with a full face helmet. Trust me, it sounds better in person, but the audio on level 4 on this thing, fantastic. On Harley, I had to crank it up to level 10 all the way, max volume, and the audio quality was terrible, and I could barely hear it on full volume going like 40 miles an hour. On here, level 4, I can hear this thing doing 100 miles an hour on the highway. I can neither confirm nor deny whether I did that myself or that was someone I knew. But I can tell you that 100 miles an hour, level 4, sounds great on the highway. The bike also has an adaptive audio system, so the faster you go, the louder it will tweak your volume for you to make sure you can still hear it as you increase your speed. Conversely to that, when you slow down and come to a stop, the bike will lower the music so you can talk to your buddies at a red light, or if you just need to pay attention, you're looking for something, you want the audio to go down, it will go down a bit as you slow down the bike. Next screen, we're back to GPS. Now, if I don't want to actually touch the screen while I'm riding, because yeah, that is kind of hazardous, you shouldn't take your hands off of the handlebars, I can still navigate to something I need. So if I click on my right index button over here, that brings up this list. Let's say I need to find a gas station. Well, on the left-hand side of the screen there, you can see there's a button that says gas. I could tap it, or on my left-hand controls over here, I have a scroll button. I can go down to gas, and then I can hit the right button again to select the gas station that's up there at the top. Hit it again, calculate the route. It's got it there, and I hit go, hit that button one more time, and it's calculating the route for me. I didn't have to touch the screen to do any of that. I kept my hands on the handlebars the whole time. One thing I will say is the chick who reads the navigation stuff to you on here, she is loud. Dear goodness, even on the quietest setting, she's loud. So I have her completely turned off. I just shut her up because she will overpower the music and be insanely loud. So Indian, you could tone it down just a little bit. I can hear the directions just fine. But I turned her off because I just prefer to glance down, see my screen, and not have that thing come on and jolt me, you know, kind of out of my music. One other feature to Ride Command that I can't really show you guys unless someone happens to call me or text me, but if a call comes in, the system is paired with not only my phone, but my Sena headset. And so when a phone call comes in, it'll say on the screen, do you want to accept the incoming call and who it's from? and I can click my right index finger button to select yes, or my left one to select no, or I can touch the screen. When a text message comes in, it will also show up on my screen, and it will show about the first 4 lines of the text message. And then again, without having to touch the screen, I can just use the select buttons on my handlebar controls. I can choose to ignore it or to reply to it with one of 4 different automated text responses. I just usually send the one that I customize saying, "Can't talk now, riding my bike, will text when safe to do so." So I can do all that without having to take my hands off of the handlebar controls and maintain my safety 100% of the time there. And unfortunately, since no one's texting me or calling me right now, because I have no friends, which is actually not entirely inaccurate, I can't exactly show that to you guys right now. So I will show that to you guys later, but I am going to pull over up here and show you guys the actual phone features of the bike, which the bike will only allow you to access when you are at a complete stop. So now that we're stopped, the bike will allow us to do some extra things with Ride Command. One other thing I'll show you first, if you just tap the power button in the middle, that will bring up the Indian head logo but take everything else off of the display. If I press and hold for 3 seconds, it will turn the display black. However, I still have music. And I still have full control over my music, so if you're riding at night and you just don't want the screen on, you can do that. Quick press brings it back up. Now if we drag down from the top, I have it set to auto brightness, but if we turn that off, I can adjust the brightness of my display manually, which is a nice feature to have. But putting it on auto works really well, and it really does adjust it to the proper time of day. Nighttime, all the way down, you can still see it nice and clear, but it's not distracting. One other thing to mention about the GPS, if we go over here, I can move this selector and zoom out really far. Okay, maybe that's a little too far, but the point is I can take it out pretty darn far, and then I can zoom way back in. Now if we go to our GPS settings here again, you can see that I have favorites. I had a route planned from basically my in-laws' place to the Dragon and Cherahalla and the Foothills Parkway. Then we can search by address, and this is all very fast, and it calculates our routes really, really quick. Points of interest, there are all kinds of options over here. Lots of good stuff. Restaurant, shopping, leisure, Indian dealer, if you want to find your closest Indian dealer to you. For me, Crockett Power Sports, Chattanooga. Good guys. Now that we're stopped, we can do some extra stuff. We can customize the split screen for whatever info we want on either side, change it up to whatever we want it to be, and I can do that with all 3 split screen options. Now, if we go to phone, you guys can see I currently don't have my headset on, but if we go to phone, my phone battery life is displayed there. I don't currently have it charging, it's just sitting in there, but we have phone options. So sitting here, I can actually dial in a phone number. You know, and make the call. It'll make the call through my phone, right to my helmet. I'm all good to go. If I hit my contacts, it'll bring up a whole list of all the contacts on my phone. If I go to recent, it'll show me all my recent completed and missed calls. I'm not going to have those pop up because those have names. And my phone is connected with Bluetooth, contacts, messages, and music. If I hit messages, it'll bring up a list of all my most recent text messages. Here's one to my dad, talking about the weather and how it's still stinking hot down here and how it's nice and cool back up home where they are. So if I'm riding, those messages will pop up on the screen, and I can reply to them with automated pre-typed responses just using the controls on my handlebars without having to mess with or touch the screen. Very safe, very useful. Indian did a perfect job with Ride Command. The screen itself, super bright, high def screen. I believe it's 720p or a little bit more high res than that. Full 7-inch display, bigger than anything Harley's got. Faster response time and route calculation time than anything Harley has. And it works really well with gloves, whether they're touchscreen gloves like these or not. They tested these screens with firefighter gloves. So it will work no matter what gloves you have. You don't have to take your gloves off. Hey, my dad texted me. That worked out really well. So you can see I can just hit my button here on the right to select reply, and then I can use my scroll button over here on the left to select a reply. I'll hit can't talk right now on bike, and then hit my index finger over here, hit sent, and I'm good to go. So taking a quick look around the bike and actually talking about what we're seeing, have our rear saddlebags here, beautifully matched with the rear curve of the bike. Our electronic lock inside. As you guys can see, I've got a fob that controls it, so if I hit my little lock button, you'll hear it lock there. If I hit it again, bike will beep, sounds the horn once, lets me know the whole system's armed, everything's locked. I walk up within range with this fob, the bike will allow me to get in. I can hit this, unlock my saddlebags again. Of course, we have that beautiful 111 Thunderstroke engine. Our 19-inch wheel up front with the open fender. Fender's a little dirty. Took some shots with some bugs. Looks like maybe even a little bird poop up on the Dragon. Got my Guardian bell in there. The front of that bike is dirty. Up front we've got 3 lights, headlight and 2 driving lamps. And then up here, these are turn signals. You guys can see the turn signals and hazards are nice bright LEDs. Same thing in the back. LEDs all the way around. I installed the Pinnacle heel shifter onto this bike. I took it off of my Chief, put on the Chieftain. We've got easy access checker oil right here. We've got an oil cooler up front. The Chieftains and the Roadmasters come with an oil cooler for the Thunderstroke 111. Keeps it a little cooler, provides with a little more torque and horsepower as far as I'm aware, just helping that engine run cooler the whole time. As you guys can see, I also have the passenger setup on here, and I installed the Indian sissy bar and backrest myself. If you guys haven't seen that video, go check it out. I did the full installation on this myself, and it was pretty good. I've got the tamper-proof setup, so it is a quick release, but the way I installed it, it's no longer quick release. It's on here, and no one can just pop it off and steal it and take it away from your bike. One more cool thing, when we start the ride command system up here, you guys will see the beautiful logo come on for Indian. And there we go. Booted up just like that fast. So that's gonna do it for this review, guys. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It's the big red button down there. It says subscribe. It's hard to miss. Click the bell icon next to it. That'll give you guys notifications when there are new videos ready for you to watch right here on MOTOBLADE. Until next time, y'all, be careful out there. Ride safe, ride on, and I will catch all of you later. Deuces!